Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Your waiting is not wasted. That ache in your chest, that question you've been carrying like a silent prayer, when is it going to happen for me? I'm here to remind you that the answer has already been written. It's all planned for the end of June 2025. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a long time to wait. But here's what you need to understand. Divine plans don't follow human clocks. When heaven sets a date, it's because there is a process that must happen inside you before the promise can happen around you. You see, right now God is aligning things you haven't even seen yet. People are being moved. Doors are being crafted. Rooms are being prepared. Rooms where your name will be spoken in places you haven't even entered yet. This is not delay. This is divine choreography. But here's the thing. You can't just wait passively. You've got to prepare like the blessing is on the way. You've got to carry yourself like you know something's coming. You've got to walk with the kind of faith that looks ridiculous until it makes sense. Yes, the nights will be long. Yes, there will be moments where you feel like giving up. But remember this. The pain you feel right now is part of the plan. God didn't say maybe. He didn't say possibly. He said it's all planned. That means every disappointment, every no, every detour, every moment that made you question yourself. It was part of the architecture of your breakthrough. You didn't lose time. You gained wisdom. You didn't lose people. You gained protection. You didn't get overlooked. You got preserved. Let me tell you something that will set your spirit free. God is not in a rush because He's not confused. He is not scrambling to figure out what to do with your life. He already saw the end from the beginning, and June 2025, that's when it unfolds, so stop panicking, stop comparing, stop thinking it's too late for you. Nothing is late when God is the one who set the time. I want you to hold this word deep in your soul. It's all planned. Your job now is to trust the plan, honor the process, and prepare for the promise. Because when the calendar turns and June 2025 arrives, your story, your breakthrough, your testimony will arrive with it. And when it does, you'll look back and say, it was worth the wait, every second of it. Divine timing is never late. It may not always align with your expectations, but it always aligns with purpose. Sometimes you look at your life and wonder why certain things haven't happened yet, why the door hasn't opened, why the relationship didn't last, why the opportunity passed you by. But what you may not see in those moments is that something greater is being orchestrated behind the scenes. Timing is not about convenience, it's about preparation, it's about alignment, it's about readiness, true readiness, not just desire. When you force things outside of divine timing, you may end up carrying blessings you're not yet strong enough to hold. But when things unfold at the right time, they come with peace, stability, and power. They come without the burden of struggle or confusion. They come when you've grown into the person who can handle the promise. Sometimes the delays you face are not punishments. They are protections. They're moments where the universe pauses everything not to hurt you, but to shape you. To build the endurance, the character, and the clarity you'll need when the door finally swings open. Because divine timing doesn't just give you the blessing. It makes sure the blessing doesn't break you. So even when you're tired, even when you're waiting, even when you feel forgotten, remember this. Divine timing is never late. It's preparing you for what you prayed for in ways you never imagined. And when it shows up, it will not be a second too early or a moment too late. It will be right on time. Delay is not denial. Just because something hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. The space between where you are and where you want to be can feel heavy. It can feel silent, uncertain, even hopeless at times, but that waiting season is not a sentence, it's a setup. It's not evidence that your dreams are dead. It's a sign that something deeper is being done. We often confuse delay with rejection, as if the pause means the answer is no. But sometimes that delay is mercy, sometimes it's grace, sometimes it's the gift of time to become who you need to be before you step into what you've asked for. Because receiving the right thing at the wrong time can do more damage than not receiving it at all. There is a rhythm to how your life unfolds, and every delay is a note in that melody. If you rush it, you miss the harmony. If you force it, you distort the beauty of what could have been. But when you trust it, when you breathe through the delay and walk forward in faith, you begin to see that the waiting was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. What you think is a no might simply be a not yet. What you see as a detour might be the exact direction you needed to grow. So don't let time trick you. Don't let the silence convince you that your prayers have gone unheard. The universe, God, the divine, whatever name you call it, has not forgotten you. The promise is still alive. Delay is not denial. It's development. It's alignment. It's making sure that when your moment comes, you're not just standing there wondering if you're ready. You know you are. Because the wait prepared you, strengthened you, and refined your faith for exactly what's on its way. Your struggles are building you. Even when it feels like life is falling apart, something within you is being formed. The pain you've been carrying, the challenges you've faced, the quiet battles no one else sees, none of it is wasted. Every hardship is shaping something in you that comfort never could. Strength is not born from ease. It's carved out in the fire of adversity. You don't grow from what comes easy. You grow from what tests your limits, breaks your patterns, and stretches your soul. The sleepless nights, the heartbreaks, the failures, they're all part of the construction of a deeper, wiser, more powerful version of you. When life pushes you to the edge, it's not trying to destroy you. It's revealing who you really are beneath the surface. Struggles expose what's been hiding inside. Courage, patience, resilience, clarity. They teach you what matters and what doesn't. They force you to slow down, to go within, to reflect. And even though it hurts, even though you'd never choose the pain, you come out on the other side with a strength that can't be shaken. The mountain you're climbing right now may seem too high, but every step is training your legs, your heart, and your mind for the summit. You are becoming, you are transforming, you are shedding the parts of yourself that were never meant to survive the journey. So when it feels like everything is working against you, take a breath and remember, life isn't tearing you down, it's building you up, not in the way you expected, but in the way you needed. One day you'll look back and realize that the very thing that made you cry also taught you how to rise. Because your struggles weren't the end of you, they were the making of you. Faith needs a deadline, not because God is limited by time, but because we are. Deadlines awaken something in us. They draw a line in the sand and say, now is the moment to believe like never before. Without a sense of timing, faith can grow passive. It can become wishful thinking instead of active trust. But when there's a deadline, when there's a date you're walking toward, it sharpens your focus. It pushes you to prepare, to expect, to align your actions with your belief. A deadline doesn't guarantee how things will unfold, but it gives your faith something to hold on to. It gives you a target to aim your prayers, your energy, and your hope. It teaches you to move differently, to plan like it's coming, to speak like it's already on the way, and to trust even when you can't yet see the results. Faith without direction can wander. Faith with a deadline takes root and stands tall. God gives you glimpses, whispers, and sometimes even timelines, not to tease you, but to train you, to show you how to trust in something bigger than yourself with a heart that refuses to doubt, even as the clock ticks. Because real faith doesn't panic when the days get shorter. Real faith says, if God said it, I believe it, even if it shows up at the last minute. Deadlines are not about control, they're about commitment. They are about saying, I will hold on until this date, not because I know how, but because I know who. They are moments of surrender wrapped in expectation, moments where heaven and earth meet through the power of unwavering belief. And when the deadline comes and the breakthrough arrives, or even if it doesn't come in the way you imagined, you'll realize the deadline was never just about the outcome. It was about growing your faith to a level where it could no longer be shaken. It was about becoming someone who believes beyond reason, beyond time, beyond fear, because faith, when it's given a deadline, doesn't shrink, it rises. June 2025 is not random. It's not a coincidence, and it's not just another month on the calendar. It's a marker in divine timing, a moment that has been written long before you knew you needed it. There are things you've been praying for, working toward, and waiting on, and June 2025 is part of the answer. Not because time itself is magical, but because purpose is tied to timing, and divine timing is never late. You may have felt forgotten in the delay. You may have questioned whether anything was really happening at all. But behind the scenes, beyond your understanding, something sacred has been unfolding. Every setback, every closed door, every season of silence has been part of the alignment. Not a delay to punish you, but a delay to prepare you. Because when the right time comes, it will not just be about what you receive. It will be about who you've become. The journey toward that date is not empty. It's filled with transformation, with growth, with lessons that are shaping you for the weight of what's ahead. June 2025 is not an escape from the process. It's the fulfillment of it, and that's why it matters that you keep going, that you keep believing even when nothing makes sense, that you keep showing up even when your heart is tired, because when that moment comes, it won't be too early and it won't be too late. It will be right on time. Everything that was unclear will begin to make sense. Everything you lost will find its reason. Everything you thought was denied will be revealed as protected. Divine timing is not measured by your clock, it's measured by alignment, by readiness, by destiny. June 2025 is not just a month. It's a moment that's been divinely planned, so don't fear the wait. Don't rush the process. What's ahead is not random, it's right, and it's coming exactly when it's meant to. Delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to. It's easy to believe that when something takes too long, it must not be meant for you. But the truth is, some of the most powerful things in your life are growing in silence. You may not see the progress on the surface, but beneath it, foundations are being laid, lessons are being taught, strength is being built, and that takes time. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The wait is not a waste. It's a season of divine development. What you're believing for may not be ready yet, and more importantly, you might not be ready yet, and that's not a weakness, that's wisdom. Because sometimes receiving what you asked for too soon can be more damaging than not receiving it at all. Timing matters, alignment matters, and when the time is right, everything will fall into place, not by force, but by flow. Delay stretches your faith. It teaches you to trust when there's no evidence to support your hope. It teaches you to hold onto your vision when doubt tries to convince you to let go. And if you stay with it, if you keep walking, keep believing, keep showing up, you'll discover that the delay wasn't a detour, it was direction. It was purpose leading you with precision. You may feel like life is on hold, but nothing is still in the hands of the divine. Every moment of delay is infused with preparation, with refinement, with grace. So don't confuse silence with absence. Don't mistake waiting for rejection. What's meant for you is still meant for you. And when the time comes, you'll understand why you had to wait as long as you did. Because it wasn't denial. It was divine timing setting you up for something greater than you imagined. Your struggles are building you. They are not pointless, and they are not punishment. They are shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more grounded than you were before. Every hardship you've walked through has left you with more insight, more depth, and more resilience. Even when it felt like everything was falling apart, something inside you was being built up. Pain has a way of teaching what comfort never could. The moments you thought would break you were actually moments that were breaking off the things you didn't need. Old fears, old habits, old limitations. Your struggles are stripping them away, and in their place, something unshakable is forming. You're becoming more than you ever imagined, not in spite of the struggle, but because of it. Growth doesn't happen in the easy seasons. It happens in the waiting, in the wondering, in the aching. It happens when you keep going even though everything in you wants to quit. That's where real transformation lives. That's where strength takes root, not the loud, flashy kind, but the quiet, steady kind that keeps showing up, keeps pushing forward, keeps believing even in the dark. You may not see it yet, but every obstacle is serving a purpose. Every tear, every disappointment, every setback is preparing you for something greater. You are being equipped, not abandoned, built, not broken, and when you come out on the other side, you won't just survive, you'll carry power, clarity, and purpose that can only come from going through it. So don't curse your struggle, don't rush through it. Let it do its work, let it build you. One day, what you thought was your breaking point will be the very foundation you stand on. Faith needs a deadline because it brings your belief into focus. It puts a frame around your expectation and challenges you to hold on with urgency and clarity. Without a deadline, faith can become passive, an open-ended hope that floats without direction. But when you assign a moment, a season, a time to your belief, it becomes more real, more alive. It transforms from wishful thinking into intentional trust. A deadline doesn't limit God, it strengthens you. It invites you to act like it's already done. It calls you to prepare, to show up, to speak with conviction. You begin to live with purpose instead of waiting in hesitation. Faith with a deadline sharpens your vision. It pushes you to build what you can, to move even when you don't feel ready, and to believe even when there's no evidence in sight. This kind of faith is bold. It's the kind that says, by this time I believe something will shift. It doesn't always mean the exact thing you expect will arrive at the exact moment. But it does mean you're showing the universe you're ready, you're aligned, and you trust the divine enough to get specific. When the deadline nears and things still look uncertain, that's when your faith gets tested. That's when your trust deepens, because real faith holds on, even in the silence. Real faith says, even if I don't see it yet, I know something is moving. You begin to act differently, speak differently, carry yourself like what you're believing for is already in motion. And whether the breakthrough comes at the stroke of midnight or in a way you never expected, the process of standing in faith by a certain time transforms you. It teaches you discipline, confidence, and unwavering hope. That deadline wasn't about pressure. It was about power, the power to believe boldly, the power to align your heart with heaven, and the power to walk by faith, not by sight. June 2025 is not random. It's not just a month on the calendar or a date you stumbled upon by chance. It is intentional. It is marked. It is divine. Everything leading up to it has been preparing you for what will be released in that time. You may not understand it now, and that's okay. Divine plans don't always come with clear explanations, but they always come with purpose. June 2025 carries a purpose that's been in motion long before you realized it. What felt like detours and delays were actually the unfolding of something greater, an orchestration of people, places, and timing that had to align perfectly. Your waiting, your endurance, your quiet persistence in the dark, none of it has been wasted. June 2025 is not random because the lessons you're learning now are necessary for what's coming then. Your mindset, your strength, your clarity, they're being shaped for something only that moment can carry. Every disappointment, every door that closed, every relationship that faded, it all had to happen to make space for what's on the way. You've been in a season of preparation, not punishment. Sometimes growth looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like everything standing still. But trust that under the surface, things are shifting in your favor. The delay has been divine, the struggle has been sacred, and the promise is still alive. By the time June 2025 arrives, you'll see how every broken piece led to something beautiful. You'll understand why you couldn't rush the process. You'll feel how deeply your faith has expanded, because this moment won't just be about receiving. It will be about recognizing that you were being built the whole time. June 2025 is not random. It is marked by heaven and aligned with your destiny. All you need to do is keep walking, keep believing, and stay ready, because when it comes, it won't just change your season. It will reveal why every step was worth it. He's aligning what you can't see. While you're busy wondering if your prayers are being heard, if your work is making a difference, if your pain has a purpose, He's already gone ahead of you. Behind every delay, every silence, every moment of uncertainty, something sacred is taking shape. You may not feel it, and you may not understand it, but trust that alignment is happening beyond your view. There are people being positioned, opportunities are being shaped, the pieces of your life that seemed scattered and disconnected are being brought together with precision. It's not random, it's not luck, it's alignment, and alignment takes time. You might think nothing's moving, but that's because you're measuring progress by what's visible. Faith, though, asks you to believe in what's invisible. To trust that He's working in the background while you focus on being ready in the foreground. You don't have to know every detail to move forward. You just have to trust the process, because He's not waiting until you're perfect. He's working with you as you grow. Each day, each step, each stretch of faith is contributing to the bigger picture. And even when doors close, even when people walk away, even when plans fall apart, it's still part of the plan. Not a loss, a redirection, not rejection, protection. He's aligning what you can't see, so when the moment arrives, it will feel like everything suddenly fits. Not because it came out of nowhere, but because it was coming all along. The right time, the right place, the right people. It's not on your schedule, but it's right on time. So don't lose heart just because the surface looks still. Trust the movement happening in the unseen. Keep your faith active. Keep showing up with hope. What's meant for you is not lost. It's being aligned, and when it finds you, it will be more than you imagined, because it came from a place far wiser than you could ever plan. You're not forgotten, you're being processed. It may feel like heaven has gone quiet, like your name has been overlooked, like your dreams are sitting in a pile of dust, but don't confuse the silence with absence. You are not being ignored, you are being developed. What looks like being overlooked is actually you being hidden for refinement. This is not the season of arrival, it's the season of preparation. Sometimes, in order to be trusted with the weight of what you've prayed for, you have to go through the fire that shapes your character. You have to be stretched so your capacity can grow. You have to be refined so when the opportunity shows up, you don't crumble under its pressure. The process is not punishment, it's protection. It's a divine pause that's making sure you are fully equipped to carry what's coming your way. This is the part where you learn endurance, where your faith is no longer just words, but a living, breathing force that keeps you moving. This is where you stop depending on external validation and learn to hear the still voice within you. This is where you discover that strength is not born in ease but in perseverance. It's where your identity gets rooted, not in achievement, but in understanding who you are when no one's watching. You are not stuck. You are not lost. You are being prepared in private for what will one day be revealed in public. Just because others can't see, it doesn't mean it's not happening. The process is sacred. It's necessary, and it's proof that something is being built in you that is worth waiting for. So don't rush out of it. Don't despise the quiet. Embrace this part of the journey, because it's doing more for your future than you can imagine. You are not forgotten. You are in the hands of the one who never wastes a moment, and when the time is right, you won't just arrive, you'll rise. Storms confirm the coming of sunshine. They don't last forever, no matter how loud, how heavy, or how overwhelming they may feel. The very presence of the storm is a signal. Something is shifting. Something is breaking. Something is being cleared out to make room for clarity, peace, and light. Storms don't show up to destroy you. They come to reveal what was weak, to strengthen what's still standing, and to wash away what no longer belongs in your life. It's easy to believe in hope when everything is calm. But it's in the storm that your faith gets tested. It's where your roots grow deep. It's where you find out what you're really made of. And it's in that chaos that the promise of peace begins to take shape. Every storm brings the assurance that sunshine is on the other side, that the clouds will lift, that healing will come, that joy will rise again. The rain may be pouring right now, and the wind may be fierce, but it's not the end, it's a cleansing. It's a reset, and when it passes, you'll see more clearly. You'll breathe more freely. You'll walk more boldly, not because life got easier, but because you became stronger. The storm didn't come to break you. It came to bless you, to make you ready for what's next. So when the sky is dark and the thunder rolls, remember this. It's just the confirmation that light is making its way back to you. Stand firm, hold your peace. The storm is loud, but it's not final. Sunshine always follows, and when it does, it will feel warmer, brighter, and more meaningful. Because you made it through. Purpose doesn't panic, it doesn't rush, it doesn't crumble under pressure. It stands even when everything around it is shaking. When you are walking in purpose, or even just moving toward it, there's a calm beneath the chaos, because something deep inside of you knows this is bigger than a moment, bigger than a setback, bigger than the noise trying to distract you. Purpose anchors you when emotions try to pull you in every direction. It doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It means fear doesn't get the final say. It doesn't mean life won't surprise you. It means you trust that every twist has already been taken into account. When you understand your life carries a purpose, you stop measuring your worth by outcomes. You stop letting other people's timelines shake your confidence. You begin to understand that even delays have their place. Even detours have meaning because purpose is not fragile. It's not easily shaken. It's stable, secure, unbothered by temporary storms. Purpose doesn't panic when things go quiet. It knows that silence is often where clarity is born. It doesn't rush to prove itself. It knows that timing is everything. So when you feel overwhelmed or uncertain, remember what lives inside of you. Remember that you were created with intention, for a reason, on purpose. That truth is unshakable. The world may spin fast, people may come and go, plans may fall apart, but purpose remains, and when you lead with that kind of knowing, peace follows, strength follows, and life, even in its most unpredictable form, starts to make sense. Because purpose doesn't panic, it prepares, it persists, and it prevails. God's silence is still a strategy. Just because you can't hear him doesn't mean he's not working. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean things aren't shifting. Silence isn't absence, it's alignment. It's the space where trust is tested and character is shaped. It's where you learn to lean in not on what you feel, but on what you know deep in your spirit. There are moments in life when heaven seems quiet, when your prayers feel like they're bouncing off the walls, and you start to wonder if you've been forgotten. But silence is never a sign of abandonment. It's often the signal that something sacred is in the making. God doesn't have to speak loudly to be active. Sometimes he's silent because what he's building for you is too great to be explained right now. Sometimes he's letting you grow roots before he lets you grow branches. Silence trains your discernment. It sharpens your faith. It teaches you to listen with your heart, not just your ears. It shows you how to keep walking when there's no roadmap, how to keep believing when there's no sign, how to stay faithful even when you don't feel favored. The silence isn't wasted. It's working. It's protection. It's preparation. It's the calm before a shift so big. Only stillness could hold its weight. So don't mistake the quiet for a void. In that stillness, heaven is arranging things for your good. In that silence, your soul is being strengthened. What you feel now is not the end. It's just the unseen part of a plan that's already in motion. God's silence is still a strategy, and when he speaks again, it will be clear why he waited, why you had to hold on, and why everything had to unfold just the way it did. June is a birthing month. It may not look like it on the surface, but something deep is being pushed into existence. All the waiting, the pressing, the praying, it's been leading to this. The discomfort you feel, the tension in your spirit, the restlessness in your heart, these are not signs of failure. They are contractions of purpose. Something is being delivered through you, and the timing is not accidental. Birthing seasons are rarely quiet. They're filled with stretching, with moments that make you question if you're ready. But readiness isn't about perfection. It's about surrender. It's about trusting that even in the pain, something beautiful is forming. The process might not be comfortable, but it's necessary. The pressure you feel is proof that your breakthrough is near. June brings the reminder that what you planted in faith, what you nurtured through tears, is about to come forth. But like all births, it requires endurance. It demands focus. You can't carry old weight into a new season. You've got to let go of what held you back, release the doubt, silence the fear, and lean into the promise. This is a month of manifestation, not just in what you see, but in who you become. The version of you that's emerging is stronger, wiser, more aligned with your calling. You may feel the intensity, but don't retreat. Don't let the pain convince you that you're not close. You're closer than ever. What's been hidden is about to be revealed. What's been forming in silence is about to speak loudly through your life. June is not just another month. It's a divine turning point, a spiritual delivery room. What's coming has been appointed. What's being born has purpose. And when it arrives, you'll know. It was worth every tear, every test, every moment of waiting. Your faith is the currency for fulfillment. It's not your connections, not your status, not your resources. It's your belief that opens doors no one else can see. Faith doesn't just wait passively. It moves with intention. It speaks with conviction. It acts before the evidence shows up. It's the quiet confidence that what you've been promised is already yours, even if it hasn't reached your hands yet. When everything around you says it's not possible, faith says keep going. When time seems to be running out, faith reminds you that you serve a God who's not bound by clocks or calendars. Faith is what lets you sow seeds in dry seasons and still expect a harvest. It's what causes you to build when there's no blueprint, to walk when there's no clear path, to trust even when all you have is a whisper in your spirit. Fulfillment doesn't begin when the dream shows up. It begins the moment you believe it's real, the moment you decide that you won't live by what you see, but by what you know deep in your soul. Every step of faith is a transaction. It's a signal to heaven that you're ready, that you're willing, that you're positioned to receive. Doubt may knock on your door, fear may try to interrupt, but neither has power when faith is leading, because faith doesn't just change your perspective, it changes your outcome. It lifts you out of limitation and into divine alignment. It transforms waiting into preparation and setbacks into setups. So if you want to see fulfillment, nurture your faith like it's gold. Guard it. Feed it, walk in it, speak from it, because it's not just belief. It's the bridge between where you are and where you're destined to be. And when faith is your currency, you're never broke. You're rich in purpose, rich in promise, and right on track for the life you were created to live. Obedience is the bridge to the promise. It's the quiet yes when no one is watching. It's the surrender in moments when your flesh wants to fight, flee, or force its own way. Obedience isn't always loud or glamorous. It's often done in the dark, in the waiting, in the moments where it would be easier to compromise. But it's that consistent, deliberate alignment with divine instruction that unlocks what you've been praying for. The promise doesn't just respond to desire, it responds to discipline. You can have the vision, the talent, the passion, but without obedience, the promise remains just that, a promise. It's the steps you take, even when you don't understand them, that draw you closer to the fulfillment of what was spoken over your life. Obedience stretches you. It breaks your attachment to your own way and teaches you to trust that the plan is wiser than your preference. There are doors you're praying to walk through that require your obedience as the key, not because you have to earn grace, but because alignment activates access. Some breakthroughs won't come through hustle, but through humility. Through the decision to stop questioning and start moving. Through the choice to say yes even when it costs you comfort. Obedience won't always make sense to your logic, but it will make sense to your spirit. It pulls you out of delay and into divine timing. It sharpens your discernment, purifies your motives, and positions you for favor that can't be manufactured. Every act of obedience is a step across the bridge from where you are to where you were always meant to be. So if you've been waiting on the promise, check your posture. Are you aligned? Are you listening? Are you willing to move even when you're afraid? Because obedience isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And the moment you stop resisting and start walking, the promise starts moving toward you. Not by force, not by luck, but by the unstoppable power of divine alignment. You must prepare as if it's coming, not because you see it yet, not because the evidence is loud, but because your spirit knows it's on the way. Preparation is an act of faith. It says, I believe in what I prayed for so deeply that I'm going to get ready for it before it even shows up. That's the kind of belief that moves mountains. That's the kind of posture that pulls heaven into motion. Preparation is proof that you're serious. It's the work you do behind the scenes. It's how you carry yourself before the opportunity arrives. You don't wait for the door to open to get dressed. You prepare now. You study now. You heal now. You build now. Because when it comes, you won't have time to start getting ready. You'll need to be ready. Sometimes we delay our own blessing because we're not willing to move until we see confirmation. But faith doesn't need proof to move. Faith is the proof. When you prepare, you're saying to the universe, to God, to yourself, I know it's already mine. It may not make sense to others. They might wonder why you're investing so much into something you can't yet see. But preparation isn't for them, it's for you. It's your declaration that the promise is real, the vision is valid, and the time is near. Get your house in order, get your heart aligned. Speak as if the answer is already in the room. Walk as if the future is now, because when the moment arrives, you won't need to adjust. You'll simply step into what you've been expecting. Preparation is not wasted effort, it's a seed. And seeds don't grow in silence because they've been forgotten. They grow because they've been planted in expectation. So prepare with hope, prepare with power, prepare with the quiet knowing that what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you, and it's coming sooner than you think. Don't let discouragement cancel the date. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just because you're tired doesn't mean the promise is off schedule. Discouragement has a way of whispering lies in the waiting, telling you it's too late, that you're not enough, that nothing's changing. But don't confuse silence with absence, and don't let emotions override what your faith knows is already written. Discouragement will try to convince you to stop expecting, to lower your hopes so you won't be disappointed. But lowering your expectations won't protect you. It will rob you, because fulfillment doesn't visit where faith has packed up and left. You are given a vision for a reason, and the date, no matter how distant or uncertain it feels, is still marked on heaven's calendar. You don't have to feel strong every day. You just have to refuse to quit. This season may feel like delay, but it's still a part of divine order. Things are being aligned, hearts are being prepared, and timing is being perfected. So don't let a few setbacks convince you the whole story is over. The date hasn't changed, the promise is still alive, but it's your responsibility to stay available, to keep your heart open, your hands lifted, your mindset anchored in faith. Discouragement can't cancel what God has scheduled unless you give it permission. Unless you walk away, unless you stop believing. So even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, hold on, speak life, stay in position. The very thing you think is being denied may actually just be developing in a way you can't yet see. The date is still set, the promise is still yours, and your endurance is part of the preparation. So shake off the despair, silence the doubt, don't cancel the date. Celebrate it in advance. He said, it's all planned, trust that. Even when it doesn't look like it, even when the days stretch long and the nights feel silent, even when you feel like you're walking blindfolded through uncertainty, you are not lost, you are being led. What feels like chaos to you is still in divine order. What seems delayed is actually in perfect timing. Every moment, every twist, every pause, it's all been considered. Nothing is random, nothing wasted. You may not understand how it will come together, but you don't have to. Trust doesn't require a blueprint. It requires surrender. It asks you to believe that the one who spoke the promise is also the one who holds the map. And that map includes every detour, every lesson, every season of waiting. It's not falling apart. It's falling into place. He didn't ask you to figure it out. He asked you to follow, to walk even when the path is unclear, to believe even when the blessing seems far. Trusting doesn't mean you never feel afraid. It means you keep going anyway. It means you speak life when your soul is weary. It means you stay faithful when you feel forgotten. Because he hasn't forgotten, he hasn't changed his mind, he hasn't made a mistake. It's all planned, means that what you're walking through now has a purpose greater than your present understanding. It means the pain has a point, the silence has strategy, the timing has intention. Trusting the plan doesn't always mean liking the process, but it does mean refusing to give up, refusing to bow to doubt, and refusing to let fear rewrite the ending. So take a breath, stop overthinking. You're not behind, you're not being punished, you're being positioned, and the plan, it's still good, it's still yours, and it's unfolding exactly how it was meant to. Every detour was designed, not one step of your journey has been wasted, not one delay, one heartbreak, one closed door happened by accident. The paths you didn't plan, the turns that didn't make sense in the moment, those were not mistakes. They were divine strategies dressed in inconvenience. What you saw as interruption, heaven saw as preparation. What felt like a setback was actually rerouting you to something greater than you imagined. You thought you missed it. You thought you failed, but grace never loses track of purpose. The longer route protected you from things you didn't even know were waiting down the road. That relationship that ended, that opportunity that slipped through your fingers, that season that humbled you, it was all part of the design. It was shaping your character, deepening your discernment, stretching your spirit. It was removing what you didn't need so you'd be ready for what's next. When you look back, you'll see that what confused you actually covered you. The delays were doors disguised as detours. You were never off course. You were just being developed. Sometimes the road to destiny doesn't look like progress. Sometimes it looks like wandering, but faith doesn't need to see the map. It just needs to know that the one leading the way doesn't make wrong turns. So stop regretting the detours. Honor them. They made you stronger. They gave you wisdom. They prepared you for the room you're about to enter. Your journey didn't break the plan. It revealed it. You're still on schedule. And every turn you didn't expect was heaven's way of getting you exactly where you were meant to be. June 2025 will reveal the why. The questions that kept you up at night, the seasons that didn't make sense, the long stretches of silence and uncertainty, all of it will come into focus. There will be a moment when the pieces finally connect, and you'll realize that nothing was random, nothing was wasted. The pain had a purpose. The delays were not dead ends. The pressure was producing something you couldn't see yet. You'll look back and understand why certain doors had to close, why some people had to leave, why you had to walk alone for a while. You'll see that what felt like rejection was really redirection, that the waiting wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The struggle didn't break you, it built you. The stillness wasn't absence, it was alignment. June 2025 won't just be another date on the calendar. It will be a divine unveiling, a season where clarity meets fulfillment, a time when the lessons rise to the surface and the weight you carried starts to make sense. You'll realize you weren't being delayed. You were being positioned. Every tear, every battle, every silent prayer it was leading you here. And when that moment comes, you won't just see the why. You'll feel the peace that comes with trusting the process. You'll understand that God was never late, that every detour was direction, that the promise was always alive, even when it was hidden. This is the setup for your shift. It may not look like it now. It may feel like everything is still, uncertain, or even falling apart. But beneath the surface, something is being arranged in your favor. This isn't a pause meant to break you. It's a preparation meant to bless you. The tension you're feeling, the pressure you're under, the resistance you're experiencing. It's not the end. It's the beginning of something that's about to turn. Shifts rarely announce themselves with clarity. They come quietly through discomfort and small moves, through inner stretching and unexpected changes. And if you're not careful, you'll mislabel what's happening as a breakdown, when in reality it's a breakthrough in disguise. Doors are being opened behind the scenes, conversations are being had about you that you haven't heard yet, opportunities are making their way toward you, And when they meet you, they'll meet a version of you that's been shaped and strengthened by everything you've survived. You're not stuck. You're being stationed, positioned, planted, and what's coming is going to require the version of you that's been formed in this fire. So don't retreat from the pressure. Don't curse the process. This season is not punishment. It's precision. What you're experiencing now is evidence that the shift has already started. Trust the process. Keep your posture of faith. Stay open, because what looks like delay is actually design. What feels like resistance is really the recalibration of your direction, and when the shift fully shows up, you'll know why the setup had to happen exactly the way it did. You will testify, not just survive. This journey you're on is not meant to leave you broken. It's meant to build a story that will speak louder than your pain ever did. You weren't brought this far just to make it through by the skin of your teeth. You are called to rise from it with a voice, with clarity, with purpose. You're not just going to look back and say, I made it. You're going to stand and say, here's what I learned, here's how I changed, here's how I saw the hand of God show up when I had nothing left. Survival is not your ceiling, it's the floor beneath the miracle that's unfolding. You're not here just to breathe through the storm, but to declare victory when the clouds finally part. There's a strength in you that's being revealed, a resilience that couldn't have been discovered any other way. The nights you cried, the days you doubted, the moments you felt invisible, they are not in vain. They are becoming the testimony someone else will need to hear when they're walking through their own fire. What you thought would destroy you is actually going to distinguish you. Your scars will be signs of grace, not shame. Your losses will point to lessons, not defeat. And every chapter you wished you could skip will become a page that turns into power. So don't shrink in the struggle. Lift your head. Speak life over your story, because one day, soon, you won't just be whispering prayers. You'll be shouting praise. You'll testify of the goodness, the faithfulness, the timing that didn't make sense until it all came together. You weren't meant to barely make it. You were meant to rise and tell the world how you overcame. He's aligning what you can't see. Right now, while you're doing your best to stay faithful with what's in front of you, things are moving behind the scenes that your eyes have not yet witnessed. Just because you don't see evidence doesn't mean movement isn't happening. Just because the door hasn't opened yet doesn't mean the key isn't already being prepared. Timing isn't waiting on your understanding. It's unfolding based on divine alignment. There are people you haven't met yet who are already part of your next season. There are rooms being arranged, hearts being softened, opportunities being orchestrated, all while you're learning to trust, to wait, to grow. Sometimes alignment starts in silence. Sometimes it begins with everything feeling still so that the shift won't be rushed but refined. You're not forgotten. You're not behind. You're simply not meant to see all the pieces until they're ready to come together. Faith isn't about seeing the full picture. It's about trusting the artist. So keep doing what you've been called to do. Keep preparing, keep sowing, keep believing, because just beyond what's visible, a divine order is being set. It's not your job to control the unseen. It's your job to be ready when it's revealed. He's aligning people, circumstances, resources, timing. Things you didn't even think to pray for are being set in motion. And when it all comes together, you'll realize it was never chaos. It was always coordination. You're not forgotten, you're being processed. It might feel like the silence means you've been overlooked, but that couldn't be further from the truth. What you're walking through right now is not abandonment, it's refinement. You are in the middle of something sacred, something designed to prepare you, stretch you, and shape you for the very thing you've been praying for. There's a difference between being delayed and being developed, and right now, you're being developed. Just like a seed must be buried before it can bloom, you may feel hidden right now, like you've been placed in the dark. But darkness is not the end, it's the beginning. It's where roots grow deep, where foundations are formed. This season is building things in you that success alone could never teach. Patience, resilience, wisdom, discernment. These are the gifts of the process. You may not feel it, but every quiet moment is a tool in the hands of purpose. Every disappointment, every rejection, every detour is doing more than you know. You're not being punished, you're being positioned. And when the time is right, you won't just rise, you'll rise stronger, wiser, and ready for what's been set aside with your name on it. Don't mistake God's silence for his absence. He's closer than you think, watching you grow through what you thought would break you. You're not being left behind. You're being prepared to lead. And when your moment comes, when the curtains pull back and the promise steps into view, you'll know why you had to be processed first. You were never forgotten. You are being formed for greatness. You're not forgotten. You're being processed. Even when it feels like no one sees the work you're doing, even when your prayers seem to echo in silence, know this: your journey is not being overlooked. There is purpose in this pause, and it's not to punish you. It's to prepare you. This season isn't a rejection. It's refinement. You are in the hands of something greater, something wiser, something intentional. And just because the answer hasn't arrived yet doesn't mean it's not on the way. There is a reason things haven't happened yet. You're still being molded, not just your circumstances, but your heart, your mind, your strength. You're learning to stand when it's not easy, to trust when you don't have all the pieces. The pressure you're under isn't random, it's shaping you for the weight of what's ahead. There's a version of you that can handle the promise, but you've got to be processed to become that version. This is not the end of your story. It's the crafting of your character. You're being trained in patience, in endurance, in trust. You're gaining the kind of strength that doesn't break under pressure, but bends with wisdom. And when it's time, when the process is complete, you won't just arrive, you'll be ready. Ready to walk into rooms with confidence, ready to hold blessings with grace, ready to rise without fear. So don't give up in the middle. Don't let the silence fool you. You haven't been forgotten for a single moment. You've been seen, known, and deeply cared for through it all. The process may be slow, but it's sacred. And when the breakthrough comes, it will be clear why you had to go through this. Because what's forming in you now is far more powerful than anything that could be rushed. Storms confirm the coming of sunshine. They shake the ground, bend your spirit, and test everything you thought you knew, but they never last forever. And their presence is not a sign that you've been abandoned. It's often the clearest evidence that breakthrough is on the horizon. The storm doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to cleanse, to shift, to prepare the atmosphere for something greater. In life, we often pray for peace, but peace isn't proven in comets revealed in the chaos. You don't find out who you are when everything is easy. You discover your strength, your endurance, your faith, when everything is pushing against you. And once the clouds pass and the winds calm, you stand taller, not because the storm didn't touch you, but because it refined you. It showed you what you were made of. There's something sacred about what storms leave behind. They wash away what no longer serves you. They remove the distractions, the illusions, the things you didn't realize were weighing you down. And when the sunshine finally breaks through, it doesn't just light the sky, it reveals the new ground you're standing on. Ground that's been softened, humbled, and made ready for growth. So when you're in the storm, don't panic. Don't let it make you forget that light is coming. You wouldn't even recognize the warmth of the sun if you hadn't felt the chill of the wind. The darker it gets, the closer the light is. This storm is not the end, it's the announcement. Something is shifting, something is changing, something is on the way. Purpose doesn't panic, it doesn't rush. It doesn't flinch when things fall apart or when timelines feel threatened. Purpose moves with certainty, with confidence, even when everything around it seems uncertain. Because when you are rooted in purpose, you begin to understand that detours don't destroy destiny, they develop it. Purpose knows that what looks like delay is often divine direction in disguise. When your life is guided by something deeper than emotion, you stop reacting to every shift and start responding with clarity. You stop questioning your value when things get hard because you recognize that storms don't cancel calling. They simply strengthen the vessel that's meant to carry it. Panic is the language of fear, but purpose speaks with faith. Purpose has its own rhythm. It doesn't speed up just because others are ahead, and it doesn't slow down just because doubt whispers in your ear. It stays steady. It listens, it aligns, it watches, and while panic screams, purpose plans. It waits for the right moment, not the loudest, not the easiest, but the destined one. When you live with purpose, you start to see setbacks as setups. You learn how to breathe through disappointment. You stop chasing approval and start standing in assurance, because deep down you know if the vision came from something greater, then the provision is already promised, so you keep walking, you keep showing up. You keep believing, even in the face of uncertainty. You don't have to have all the answers to be anchored in purpose. You just have to trust that what was placed inside you was placed there for a reason. And no matter what shakes around you, purpose remains unshaken. It is calm in the chaos. It is still in the storm, because it already knows how the story ends. God's silence is still a strategy. It can be one of the hardest seasons to walk through, the quiet moments when it feels like your prayers are hitting the ceiling, when you're searching for a sign and receiving none. But silence isn't absence, and stillness isn't neglect. Sometimes the quiet is the strategy. Sometimes the delay is the design. Not everything is meant to be spoken. Some moves are made in the unseen. Some battles are won in the silence. There are things being orchestrated that you're not supposed to hear yet, not because you're unworthy, but because the process requires your trust more than your understanding. If you could see it all, you'd try to control it. If you could hear it all, you'd rush the outcome. But silence teaches surrender. It invites faith to step in where logic ends. It creates space for you to grow in patience, in character, in vision. In the quiet, you are being trained to listen with your heart instead of your ears. You are being invited to look deeper, to trust what was spoken in the light even when you're walking through the dark. God doesn't waste words. If He's not speaking now, it may be because He's already said what you needed, and now it's time to walk it out. Don't despise the silence. It is doing more than you know. It's protecting what's being built. It's maturing what's being planted. It's setting the stage for something greater. When the time is right, the silence will break with clarity. The door will open, the answer will come, and you'll understand why it had to be quiet first. So hold on, stay faithful, keep walking. Silence is not the end of the conversation. It's the space between strategy and fulfillment. June is a birthing month. It's not just another page on the calendar. It carries a spiritual weight, a shift in atmosphere, a divine readiness. Something is being pushed through in this season. It's been growing quietly in the background, forming in secret, hidden from public view. But now it's crowning. Now it's stretching. Now it's ready to break forth. You may feel pressure, discomfort, even fear. That's not a sign to retreat. It's a signal that the labor has begun. You've carried the vision long enough. You've endured the waiting room of heaven, and now what has been promised is pressing to be born. June doesn't come to whisper, it comes to declare. It comes to announce a new beginning, not just for the world around you, but for the purpose within you. In this season, you must understand that everything you've endured, the silent nights, the closed doors, the heavy days, was not wasted. It was preparation. It was gestation. It was divine incubation. You weren't stuck. You were being shaped. You weren't delayed. You were being developed. And now the time has come where what you've prayed for and cried for starts to emerge. But birth isn't just about the arrival. It's about readiness. You must show up with open hands and a focused heart. You must be willing to release the old to make room for what's coming, because what's being born in June doesn't look like what you've seen before. It's fresh. It's different. It's the fulfillment of quiet seeds planted in faith. This is your birthing month. You will not miscarry what you've carried so long. You will not lose what heaven has designed. Trust the process. Push with purpose. June has come, and with it, so has your time. Your faith is the currency for fulfillment. It is not your connections, your status, or your resources that open the door to what's promised. It's your unwavering belief in what you cannot yet see. Faith is the power that moves heaven into motion. It is the invisible thread that ties your now to your not yet. It doesn't ask for proof. It doesn't wait for guarantees. It simply says, I believe, and keeps moving forward. Faith pays the price that doubt never will. It walks into rooms with no open doors and believes one will appear. It builds when there are no blueprints. It speaks when there's no evidence. It trusts when all logic screams to give up, because faith doesn't operate from what's visible. It stands on what was spoken. It knows that fulfillment doesn't come because you figured it all out. It comes because you trusted the one who already did. When everything feels like it's standing still, when your prayers echo in silence, when the timeline looks broken, faith steps in and says, keep going. It becomes your confidence in the waiting, your strength in the uncertainty, your anchor in the storm. And as long as you carry faith, you're never empty-handed. You are never without power. You are never truly stuck. Faith is the down payment on the future you've been promised. Every step you take in belief is a deposit into your destiny. Every yes in fear, every prayer in the dark, every time you choose hope over despair, those are investments. And fulfillment doesn't come overnight, but it does come to those who keep investing, who keep sowing in faith, who keep standing even when nothing seems to move. So don't measure your progress by what you see, measure it by what you believe. Because faith doesn't just wait for fulfillment. It draws it near, it invites it in, it prepares the table. Your faith is the currency, and the transaction is already in motion. Obedience is the bridge to the promise. It's the quiet, often unseen act of saying yes when everything in you wants to turn back. It's showing up when it doesn't make sense, when the instructions feel unclear, when the journey looks longer than expected. But obedience doesn't ask for full clarity. It responds to divine instruction with trust. It says, even if I don't understand, I'll still follow. And in that surrender, something powerful happens. There are blessings tied to obedience that cannot be unlocked by talent, hustle, or ambition. There are doors that only open when you walk the path you've been assigned, not the one that looks easier or more appealing. Every time you choose obedience, you're building the very bridge that leads to your breakthrough. Every faithful step is connecting your present to your promise. The journey won't always feel glamorous. Obedience sometimes feels like sacrifice. It may cost you comfort, applause, or the approval of others. But what it returns is peace, purpose, and divine alignment. God doesn't call you to obey because he needs your performance. He calls you to obey because he's preparing your position. He sees what's ahead. He knows what's required, and when you follow even without the full picture, you're proving that your trust isn't in the outcome, it's in the one who gave the instruction. That's how the promise begins to manifest, not when you see it, but when you walk like it's already yours. Obedience isn't just a task, it's a key. It unlocks what you've been praying for, believing for, waiting for. It's not about perfection, it's about posture, the willingness to listen, to move, to say yes even when it's hard. That is the bridge. And if you keep walking, if you keep trusting, that bridge will carry you into everything you were born to receive. You must prepare as if it's coming, not because you see it yet, not because you feel it today, but because faith demands action. There is something powerful that happens when you begin to move like the answer is already on the way. Preparation is a declaration. It's your soul saying, I believe it's already mine. It's not pretending, it's positioning. When you make room for what you've prayed for, heaven takes notice. You're not just waiting. You're aligning. You're cleaning out the space, organizing your life, strengthening your habits, sharpening your focus. Why? Because what's coming can't fit into who you used to be. Your next season requires a new version of you, more ready, more disciplined, more expectant. Too often we delay preparation, thinking we have time, thinking we'll get ready when it arrives. But miracles don't wait for you to feel ready. They respond to faith in motion. You can't ask for a door and never build the courage to knock. You can't ask for increase and refuse to clear out what no longer serves your growth. Preparation says, I trust the promise so deeply. I'm willing to look foolish now to be faithful later. Lay out the vision, study for the position, heal for the relationship, Budget for the breakthrough. Speak like it's near, walk like it's yours. Don't let delay convince you to sit still. The delay is not a no. It's an invitation to get ready. You're not wasting time when you prepare. You're telling the future, I'm expecting you. So hold on to that hope, not with idle hands, but with a ready spirit, because when the time comes, and it will come, you won't be scrambling, you'll be prepared, and you'll know deep down that your readiness was proof of your belief all along. Don't let discouragement cancel the date. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not on the calendar. Discouragement is loud, convincing, and persistent. It tells you that waiting is wasting, that hope is foolish, and that what you believed for is slipping away. But discouragement is not the voice of truth. It's the voice of delay trying to sound like denial. Every promise comes with a process, and part of that process is standing firm when everything in you wants to give up. Discouragement whispers that you should move on, lower your expectations, or stop trying altogether. But the truth is, what's meant for you hasn't been canceled. It's being prepared. The timing hasn't changed just because the road has gotten hard. The date is still marked. Heaven has not forgotten. You must protect your spirit in the waiting season. Guard your mind from the lies that say nothing is happening. There is movement in silence, progress in stillness, alignment behind the curtain. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not coming. Discouragement will try to steal your vision, drain your energy, and cancel your hope. But you have the power to stand. You have the strength to keep believing. Stay ready. Keep showing up. Speak life over what looks lifeless. Declare that your date is still set. Because when discouragement knocks, that's often the clearest sign that something is near. It doesn't fight what isn't powerful. It doesn't chase what isn't chosen. You're closer than you think, and the moment you decide to believe again, to trust again, to hope again, that's the moment you take the date back. You were never waiting for the perfect time. You were being shaped for the appointed time. So don't cancel what's already been confirmed. Don't let today's feeling change what heaven has already written in stone. Keep walking, keep expecting, and keep the date. He said it's all planned. Trust that. Trust it even when it's quiet. Trust it even when the path feels hidden and the road ahead makes no sense. There's a power in those words that you must hold on to, because when God speaks, He doesn't speak out of uncertainty. He speaks from completion. That means while you're trying to figure it out, He's already finished it. While you're wondering how it will come together, He's already aligned every detail. The human mind